I've been having technical issues. I apologize for the inconvenience. I think I finally got everything straight. Finally.
As you request. On the move. Standing ready.
Ready for battle. On the move. Any further requests? Proceed. I am still ready.
Ready for orders. Forgive me, but I cannot.
Just
My master prays that you see opportunity in this conflict and that you will aid us.
oh no.
Commander? We take this settlement for Rome! None will escape! Ready for orders. Any man who drops out is left behind! Ready for further orders.
At your command. March. Is that all?
Attack! For Rome! Commander?
I am listening. Let them power for our might.
Speak. I'm listening. March. What is the plan?
Army, swift and silent as a shadow.
For the people. On the move.
Peace, honestly.
None will escape.
We hunger for battle. It is an honor to serve Rome. Steady as we go. Ready for orders. We need good Rome men. Police reporting.
I'm a jester. Oh my god. I had to do a separate game
Surely,
capture
my noble friend, you can see the
for
wisdom
my
in giving us.
for my PC, because at first I had it for the PC, then I made that one for the PS5, and then I had to change all the settings. Cause like I had all the problems like the audio and I had all that. I had to fix that. I just spent the last like hour, probably like 2 hours fixing it. It's okay. I'm doing okay.
As you request. I shall take this settlement. Ready for battle.
Speak. I'm listening.
It's okay. You know,
Make haste, men.
I'm glad I did it today.
We are ready.
Like I really wasn't,
On
I
the
really didn't have any plans for the stream. That's why I was streaming to this game. I'd rather it happen now than later. So.
Ready for orders. Ready for further orders.
Um,
Ready for battle.
so it's all good.
At your service. Treading softly.
I'm probably just gonna stream like an hour. It's all good. I'm not complaining. It could be
It
worse.
is an honor to serve Rome.
I am listening.
Anything else to do? But I'm glad you're here, though. I'm not gonna complain.
Some in the Senate are known to have lavish tastes. These men remember with fondness those who help fund such tastes.
A token, perhaps a modest gift of coin, would have my people see you in a new light.
The important thing is that I gotta fix. That's the important thing. Oh no.
For the people.
We hunger for. We take this settlement for Rome. Laying siege to the settlement.
Ready for battle. March.
For death and honor. Besieging settlement.
It's based in ancient. It's not based purely on Rome, but it's based in the ancient world, I would say. 'Cause it does include like all the nations that was around during ancient Rome, and they have DLCs. I have like a couple of DLCs. You can do the DLC with Julius Caesar. They have one with the second triumphant with Lepidus, Octavian, and Mark Antony. I just did that with Mark Antony, and this is the Empire Divided DLC. like in this, I think the middle second century between let me go to this. I'm playing as Palmyra, which is Zenobia, Queen Zenobia in the east. And then you had, I think he got wiped out. He had what was his name? Aurelian. That was like he had Rome, and then you had this guy Tacitus. He had Gaul, and then the empire split into three parts. And the Aurelian ends up uniting the empire. In real life, he does, but I normally don't like going the historical way. I kind of choose a different way. I mean, it would be boring if you would just do it the way it happened in real life.
Queen is ready. Let them cower before our might. I shall take this settlement.
So right now, what I'm doing is I'm just taking Asia Minor,
Victory!
because these are. That's why I'm not doing battles. I'm trying to conquer as much as I can. The real battle will be when I get to this guy right here. So my plan is to go this way, conquer Greece, and then end up in Gaul and Italy, and that's where the fight's gonna be. Mine was too. My internet wasn't like my tablet. I was like, oh my god, it wasn't working for the life of
Ready
me.
for orders.
So
Commander.
Commander.
I think he took it. Son of a bitch. I don't know. See, I'm allied with these people where they're serving to the Sassanids, and they're coming behind me and taking up stuff. So it's kind of pissing me off. But yeah, what can you do? This is a mod. Welcome in. This is a mod. It's the Empire Divided. It's based in I think the middle second century between Tacitus, Aurelian, and Queen Zenobia. Queen Zenobia was in the east, so she basically had all the eastern provinces. She took over the eastern provinces. Then you had Aurelian. He had let's say like in the middle, like Dacia, Greece, though in that area. And then you had Tacitus. He took over Gaul because the empire got so big that you had. That's what happened in the third century. Rome got so big that the power, you had Rome, but then people would be so far from Rome that they would just be like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna, they would be like, I can be emperor, and that's why he had so many emperors in the third century because they were so far from the power base, it was hard to control them. So This is the DLC, and I'm playing as Queen Zenobia. And my plan of attack is to eventually take over this part, Asia Minor, and then we're gonna cross the sea into Greece, and then follow the Adriatic Sea into Italy. Because my main goal is to take Italy and Gaul. I'll consider that a. I have to wipe them out anyway to complete the. That's part of the campaign requirements. How can I remember that? I've always been a history buff, and I used to read my brother's history books for fun when I was growing up. So I really love history, especially ancient history, like Rome and Greece and stuff. I always found that fascinating. So like, once you kind of learn it, it's easy. Um. Well, the reason we'll just start. Augustus did want to expand into Germania, but what happens is the disaster of the Teutoburg Forest. Let's see what happened. I forget his name. It was Varius, yeah, General Varius. He had like 3 legions, which was probably like 10 to 15% of the main force of Rome at that time. And he foolishly followed this guy, Arminius, into the forest, and they got massacred. And it's had a very psychological blow to the Romans. And to Augustus himself, he would go around screaming, saying, "Various, give me back my goddamn legions." So and that's when they started expanding. So from like first century probably to the second century, there was no really Rome just let Germany be a buffer state, basically. Um, then what happens with Marcus Aurelius? They start invading again. So you have like a 20-year period where um, Marcus Aurelius he's making ground and stuff, but the problem is his son. His son's Commodus, which if you ever watched Gladiator, he really was the emperor. Um, that would have been the time to like really make headway into Germany, but because he didn't, um, and Germany was forgotten about. So what happens is when you have the 4th century, um, you have a lot of barbarians. They're coming in. Um, you actually had barbarians that were pushing other barbarians into Roman territory. So the problem with that was at that time Rome was really struggling with it, like to raise men and stuff. They had like plagues and stuff, so they started hiring the barbarians to fight the other barbarians.
The Senate suggests that cooperation rather than hostility was...
It just, but it really, and then they also had a lot of defeats, as in, let's see, yeah, the West and the East didn't really unite during the 3rd century to help with the barbarians, and there was a I forget his name, but it was fought probably around here. It was the Battle of Adrianople. I know I'm mispronouncing that name. Um, he actually had reinforcements that were coming from Rome, but he wanted all the damn glory for himself. So instead of waiting for reinforcements, he goes and try to fight the barbarians. And they basically get wiped out. And not only does he die, but
I am listening.
his son dies. So there's no one. It's chaos. There's another one where in the same region, um, there's another defeat of the Romans, and basically they took the whole treasury with them, and then they get wiped out. And the significance of that is basically the entire economy like collapses because it's like it just messes up the economy. So between these defeats and Rome not working together to like the East and the West, they pretty much just did their own thing. And like a lot of other things. It wasn't just one thing that made the Romans fall, but it didn't help. So when that happens, Rome eventually falls.
Advance!
We are ready.
I know I went too deep into that. I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me read your. Actually, the biggest, our big army was probably around 50,000 men. Um, Let me kind of go to the map so I can explain to it. Basically, what would happen is the legions were basically put on the borders, the border of the empire. So you would have the legions, like just say from here, maybe you have 2 or 3 in Britannia, and then it would be stretched out among the frontier. Maybe you have 1 or 2 in Italy. They're supposed to be the Praetorian Guard, and then you had spaced out in the east, maybe by 4 or 5. You know, a lot, and then a lot of then you have the auxiliaries, but they were professional soldiers, so you had to pay them. So not only you had to feed them, and you had to pay them. So that really limited. Now, like the only time they really had a lot of soldiers would be like in the Civil War with like Mark Antony and Octavian and them. They did have very large armies, probably like 16 legions, probably like 70 to 80,000. But they wasn't really used right because you didn't. They basically were commanded by generals that wasn't really used to. They were more political leaders, so that was like the outlier. But basically, 50,000, and they would probably have the same amount of auxiliaries. So you're talking about like maybe like 60, 70,000. That would be a large army.
Make haste!
Because like I said, you have to think about the logistics of it, like how you gonna feed it, how you gonna, and then
On the move.
and also
Any further requests?
it takes time for those legions to muster from. You gotta pull manpower from over here and then move it over there. So it was like it wasn't as easy as people think.
I fight for the people.
There's not a lot of really movies that go into that. You just have to like know your history, I guess.
What I ask is such a little
I appreciate
thing,
your follow, bro.
an inconsequential thing, that I almost hesitate to mention the amount.
as far as discipline and stuff like that, what made the Romans so successful and why they lasted so long is Rome was the Roman legions was based on a system of warfare, and that system, it was the system that made the Romans so, so good. So um, it could overcome like a bad commander or being outnumbered and stuff like that. So what would happen is basically they basically would go through like like when you join the legions, you would go through like 6 months of training. Like if you think about the modern armies, like they're based on the how they train and stuff. That's based off Rome. Like what would happen is oh, it's not okay. I'm about to take over some pass. Okay, so you go through 6 months of training. You would go through calisthenics, and basically because you could not become a legionnaire until you can march at least 20 miles a day, full pack. So you're talking about marching with your equipment, your armor probably weighed like 20, 30 pounds. Because you have segmented chain armor.
At your command.
So you're talking about 30, 40 pounds plus a pack.
Journey complete.
So all that, you're talking about 60 to 80 pounds and marching straight. Very little breaks. You start in the morning, you end at night. Then you get to the end of your march and you got to set up a fortified camp. So that means you got to dig a ditch. You got to dig latrines. All before you could just chill. So yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing to do. But because they did all that, it made it easier, like in combat. You couldn't just sneak up on the legions because they had a fortified camp. Even like they would like it scared a lot of like if you go like an enemy territory and they're setting up a camp, a
These
big camp
brazen fools
right in front of
deserve
your
only
village,
death.
you'd be terrified.
Can your mighty general...
Just straight terrified because of that. So, and they was organized into cohorts. You probably had like 10 cohorts. It was organized. First you had squads. There'd be like probably like 6 men. They call them sections. And then you would go to a century. I think it'd be like 80 men, if I'm not mistaken. And then you would go to a cohort, which probably be like 10 cohorts. And the first cohort would probably be double strength. No, I think no, those Praetorians. But they number around 5,000. Because you also had engineers, support staff. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I'm trying to answer all your questions. Movie I would suggest. What would be a good movie? I like Centurion. It covers the ninth ninth in Britannia, because it just disappeared. We're assuming that it died. They got killed in an ambush somewhere, but there's really no one is really knows what happened. I would more suggest you buy like books, because Hollywood doesn't always get it right.
Put your backs
It's
into
just
it,
my
you
personal
men.
opinion. But I like Gladiator, the first Gladiator, even though it's not necessarily about the legions.
Ready for orders.
I like the Gladiator, Centurion. What's another Rome? The Eagle. It's also about the ninth. Reclaiming the Eagle. I also like Spartacus with Kirk Douglas.
It is an
It's
honor
kind
to
of
serve
old,
Rome.
and
Hard on the
it's more of a perspective of the slaves, but it still gives you a pretty good
ready for orders.
perspective of Rome and how it would have been like. But one of my books I love to read was called Imperial Governor, and it basically covers the Boudica Revolt. I think it happened. Yeah, it happened in the first century. Yeah, I think it happened during Claudius. I think. It's a little bit technical, and you basically the main character is the Suetonius Paulinus. I think that's his name. He was the military governor at that time, and he basically beats Boudica. Like, it was like high stakes. Uh, Basically, the prophets was on the line. If he loses, that means Britannia is not going to be a province anymore. But she was very successful. She actually sacked Ladinium. You're talking probably like 80,000 civilians put to the sword. So she had, and then she had, I think she had defeated a couple legions too. So she was on a roll. But Paulinus was a very smart tactician. And what he basically did, he basically picked a battlefield. They don't know where the battlefield is at, but he basically picked a battlefield that neglected her numbers. So they could only fight with the same amount of people in their front as the Romans, which even the odds. And they made a very grave mistake. The Britons would fight with like a baggage train behind them. That's where the followers, camp followers, and stuff like that. But what ends up happening is when they start to retreat, the baggage train gets in the way, and they basically get slaughtered almost to the last man. So, talking about like 60, 70. I think they said about between 70, 80,000. Depends who your source is, because they do exaggerate. So, yeah. But I really like that book. And like I said, I like Gladiator. I like Gladiator. It doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be exact. Just the period.
I am
You know,
listening.
I like the period. They also have, I think they call Barbarians Rising. I think it's on. I can't think if it's on Netflix or Hulu. And they actually talk about how the barbarians rise against the Romans. The Romans were very arrogant, because the reason why Rome really falls is because of the arrogance of the leaders that were in charge. need to set that up.
I speak with honest
I
and
plan
honorable
on
tongue.
setting it up this
I
weekend.
demand that you listen with
I'm finally
equal
getting
honesty.
I'm finally getting my webcam. So
I see that
I
your
need to get
course is
that.
set. Truly, I
I will
hope
have
your
it
goals
by this
gave you
weekend.
wisdom
I
and not
promise you.
false counsel.
But let me finish the story. Like remember when I
Your
was telling
majesty.
y'all how? Oh, what did I do?
Ah, so you know?
No.
Much blood.
Okay, Rome was supposed to give land to the barbarians that were fighting for them, and when they got like they was like served like let's say 10 years, and then they get their land. But then when it came time for them to get their land, the Romans panicked, and so instead of giving them their land, they basically started slaughtering them. And this just created a lot of bad blood. And there was also a guy.
Any further requests?
He was half barbarian, half Roman,
I fight for
and
the people.
he was really tight with the one of the Goth leaders,
At once,
and
advance halted.
he gets executed
For the people.
because the people that's in charge see him as a threat. So
Commander.
when he dies, the piece is shattered, and the Goths end up sacking Rome. They put Rome to siege and they end up sacking it. So that's what had happened. And they had just kept their word, you know, it never would have happened. But
Ready for
it's kind of like today when you have like people talk about immigrants and stuff. It's just a fear that if you let too many people in, you know, they're gonna somehow take over and you're gonna lose everything. So I'm not saying that like immigration is just cut and dry, but
At your service. I
Rome was in a position of weakness, so you know
At your command.
For the people.
you got to make compromises. You know, their leaders were acting like they was like the first century and stuff when they was like, and then the last of the emperors they wasn't really running stuff. It was their the people that was around them that were really making the decisions. Because I think the last emperor was like 13 years old.
Surely, my noble friend. Much blood has been spilled.
But get me to this weekend. I'm gonna get that. I should already had it, but I will get my Discord server up and running.
I am listening.
We are ready.
ready
But
for
I appreciate you being here and following me.
advance.
And I'm glad you love history too. Not everybody does.
Ready for orders.
A lot of people think it's boring. I guess it depends on who tells the story. This is very interesting. Like some of the things that happen in history is better than like a reality TV show. To be honest with you.
Hard on the oars, you
Did I do that? No.
Ready for orders.
I hope I answered all your questions and I didn't talk too much. I try not to.
I fight for the people.
Brewery. This should be the last one though.
Commander? We take this settlement for Rome! Let them cower before Rome!
Oh, that's another. Oh, okay.
Ready for battle. Make haste, men!
To victory!
Okay.
As you request. I shall take this settlement.
We hung make haste, men!
Let's see. Oops. What is neutral? I think it's probably not. Okay, let me start doing this stuff. I've been forgetting. That's gonna be there. No. Okay. I should do that. Okay. Okay. Time is it? Nah, okay. I'm just waiting on I'm ready to build my siege engines because they look so cool when you use them, especially when you use the flaming artillery. We got that going. We got food. Got like 4 turns.
Victory! I fight for the people.
Okay, just hurry up and do this. Check that out. Ooh, okay.
We hunger for battle.
Oh, you know what? I did forget the Bible. Okay. I'm gonna have to. Let's see. It happens. I don't. Let's see. Uh, Give me 1 second. It pops up, but the Discord. Let's see. Should be at the bottom of the screen. Oh crap. I probably have to work on that because I probably it does ask me to do I want to do that, but I never do it. Let me see. There we go. Oh, you can see it. Okay. I'm probably gonna set up a Discord tomorrow. Okay. Shift. They can add you into your Discord. Oh, I see what you're saying, Jess. I see what you're saying, Jess. I see what you're saying, Jess. Now I understand what you're saying. What just happened? Did the game just end? Oh no. It ended. Give me 1 second. I don't know why the game did that.
Sega.
Okay. What the heck is going on? Okay. won't let me play the game.